Yeah, I'm Mike Genovese, and yeah, you're here tonight, late bloomers restarting and refreshing your career. And have you had to put your career on hold or find you're no longer in the flow, ready to resume and start fresh? Join members organizing volunteer efforts, MOVE L.A., as they host this event on ways to restart or refresh your career. Find out from SAG-AFTRA members and others how the entertainment industry has changed and what you can do to get up to speed. As Ellen mentioned, not only do we develop the events that we produce through the year from the steering committee, but we also take suggestions from the membership at large. And this particular event came to our attention through one of our panelists tonight, Ben Whitehair, a person that he knows by the name of Stuart Scott. Are you here tonight, Stuart? Stuart, thank you. Thank you very much. So this was Stuart's idea, and we had an event that we had to postpone until next year, and we were looking for something to put in its place, and Ben said, hey, I know this guy. Nah, you're not that old. Come on. You could be my son. Anyway, so thank you, sir, for bringing this to our attention, because after every meeting that we have, every event that we have, there's always somebody who comes up and says, how do I get up to speed these days? The business has changed so much. I've been away from it, or whatever. Anyway, so that's what's going to happen tonight. We've got a whole range of people who have their experiences that they can tell you about. And before I move to that, I want to thank some staff members: Consuelo Flores, Serena Kung, Christine Drum, and most of all, our sort of direct link to the staff. All these people are staff. Our most direct link is Jacqueline Perez. Let her know. Tonight we've got Neil doing camera work for us. You can thank him. And now I'm going to present to you the man who's going to be the main moderator tonight, Richard Fancy. Come on, Richard.
Hi. Before I introduce people, I want to tell you a short story. I went to re-sign with my commercial agent a couple of weeks ago, and the intern said, will you check our fact sheet on you, make sure your sizes are the same, your weight is the same. I looked at it and signed off. I noticed there was a category on it. How many Twitter followers did I have? How many Facebook followers did I have? Yeah, that's what I did. I went, what? And she said, that's fine. Because she knew from my expression, there are guys my age who know this kind of thing. I don't, which is why I got interested in moderating this, because I can find some stuff out. Tonight, we have got actors who are going to share with you the transitions, because this is what this is about. It's about transitions. The transitions in their lives up till now, and two experts who are really clear about the transitions that the biz is going through right now, and might have helpful tips for you and me in how to navigate this. So I'm going to start by introducing our two experts. First, Marcy Liroff. Marcy is a major casting director. When she was with Fenton Feinberg, along with Mike Fenton, she cast Poltergeist, Christmas Story, Porky's, E.T., Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and then she founded her own casting company in the mid-'80s, cast Footloose, St. Elmo's Fire, Pretty in Pink, She produced Sublime and Beautiful as well. She has some trenchant advice about navigating the biz as it is today. And our other expert is Ben Whitehair. Ben is an actor, an ex-rodeo star, an entrepreneur, and relevant to us, he is expert in the use of social media. He's the co-founder of LA Tweetups, in which he co-founded in 2009. Also, I had a conversation with both of them and came away going, and I think you will too. Emilio Rivera. You probably recognize Emilio Rivera. He has a very long page on IMDb. Recently, he's been a regular in Sons of Anarchy, Z Nation, Gang Related. He began his career in LA theater, and he recently returned to the Mark Taper in the very award-winning Water and Power at the Mark Taper. Mark Bramhall. Mark started his career at the American Conservatory Theater, which at that point was the regional theater in the United States. He's performed off-Broadway at leading regional theaters, at the Mark Taper Forum and the Kirk Douglas Theater, and a lot of LA intimate theater. Antaeus, Sacred Fools, Actors Co-op, Odysseys, won a lot of awards, and his audiobooks have garnered dozens of industry citations for excellence. Yvette Freeman. And I'm sure you recognize Yvette as well. She was on ER for all 15 seasons. She was on Orange is the New Black. She did a show called Dinah Was, which I did not see, but I heard was extraordinary, about Dinah Washington, which she actually was the originator of, and then with Oliver Goldstick brought first to LA and then to off-Broadway, for which she won an Obie. She is a big award winner, has directed, has taught, has written and directed. She's a graduate of the University of Delaware and holds a master's degree in English and creative writing. I should have put a period at the end of that, I'm sorry. And Sarah Jane Gould. Now, Sarah Jane trained and was a dancer, a very employed dancer. She started dancing in the Midwest, and then she, instead of going to college, realized it's an athlete's lifespan, a dancer. So she went to Los Angeles, and she performed USO shows. She performed with Gene Kelly in Las Vegas. She did a lot of variety shows, which were, was going on a lot at that point. And she established a very solid career in dancing. When her knees began to hurt a lot, she became a stand-in, and very successful at that. Obviously, some of the same skills. You look at what they do and you do that. She did a number of shows and then went into production accounting, which she did for years, and recently has come back. Now, as an actress, she's working in commercials. And that is Sarah Jane Gould. I think we'll start. What is that? Yeah, great. Ah, there, right, thank you. Yes, you are. So let's begin our conversation with some of the actors' background, just in terms of transitions they have made. So I started myself as a nice Jewish boy in high school. I was in the high school play, and then I thought, oh, it's going to be like this all my life. But Emilio, you started as an actor in a somewhat different way than I did. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Is it on?
Hello?
Yeah, sorry.
I started a little bit different than him. than Richard. I was a gang member and a drug addict most of my life. I got clean and sober 25 years ago, and well, no, I don't say it for that, you know. But thank you for the applause. But it's helped me who I've become today. You dig what I'm saying? And most of my life, you know, early in my career, people would get on me because I was being typecast. Well, just try to get cast. You know what I'm talking about? Because you know, I made a nice living. I put my family through college, and I had had a nice life until the divorce. But but it's all good now. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is that, you know, don't let nobody knock you down, man. You know, that was my dream. I ran with it, and I did good, man. So I mean, I had fun. I'm still having fun, and but just besides that part, I want to say something that's really important. Don't let your pride get in your way as far as well, I can't do that because that's just a co-star role, you know. And because I got stuck on that, you know, in 2002, and then Michael Mann was doing a show on I think Fox. And my agent called me. They said they want to see you for a co-starring role. And I said, hey, come on, man. You know, she goes, it's Michael Mann. I said, okay, I'll go see Michael Mann. You know, I'll do it because of that. And because I went in there for a co-star role, I got to work with Michael Mann 4 times after that. You dig what I'm saying? Let them see who you are, the work you do, your work ethic. And I mean, even now, if you're starting over again, well, shit, man. You know, go do that co-starring role. I mean, I know it sounds, you know, I've guest starred here, I've starred here. Forget about all that. Let them see what you do, man. Let them see your work ethic. Let them see the nice heart that you have. Always remember, have that nice heart. Be kind to everybody. That's has gotten me along in my career. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little bit nervous now. I'm an actor, and I only do good when I read stuff. You know what I'm saying? I get nervous when I'm myself, but whatever. I mean, I'll let you speak, man. I can ramble on all night long. Come on.
Thanks. So Mark Bramhall had a different career. Mark and I kind of started together. We went to drama school in London during the Punic Wars, I think. and then Mark, at Christmas time, during the Christmas break, got a telegram from, I don't know if you know who William Ball was. He was the major director of American Regional Theater, and the telegram said...
Microphone.
The telegram said, this will serve as our contract for you to be the juvenile with the American Conservatory Theater. Your response constitutes a legal signature. Salary is yada, yada, yada. Rehearsals start 1 month from now. And ACT was one of the theaters that I was lusting to get into from drama school. I'd never met Bill Ball in my life. I had no idea how this, what was going on, how this fell out of heaven.
And you were there for like 5 years, right?
Yeah, I was there for the first 5 seasons of the American Conservatory Theater, which was an experience that was, I don't think, has been equaled yet in American theater. Anyway, so I went to the office of the headmaster of the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art and said I had to leave, which meant that he had to forfeit the Fulbright scholarship money that had put me there. And he looked at me across the desk and said, you can't be leaving for a job. But it wasn't just a job, it was a school and a theater that kept you up to your eyeballs in work all the time and paid a living wage that was a year-round salary. Unheard of, absolutely unheard of. So I wasn't the first amazing stroke of luck I had in my life. I've had many, but so many, in fact, that I didn't know how good I had it. And shortly thereafter, after I had 5 seasons there and hit some personal bumps in my life, I took a sharp left turn, literally, and got involved with the far left in our country, such as it was back in the days of the anti-Vietnam War demonstrations and civil rights movement and so forth. And I decided that I wasn't going to be a court jester for the bourgeoisie anymore. and took off, walked away, just when things were starting to go vertical. It was, I guess you'd have to say it was supremely stupid, but then I did what I did for the next almost 18 years. And I can't say I regret it because that's a waste of time. And I find now that I'm back, because midlife crisis brought me back, that the experiences that I had are play into my work all the time. And I'm just incredibly happy to be back at work, which I have been now for 26 years.
Now you also, you've been doing guest shots and television, but then you made another transition.
Yeah, when I came back, I started getting work right away in film and television, and I thought, yeah, here we go, rocket to stardom, no problem.
It always happens that way.
And then reality struck, and I did a hell of a lot of telemarketing and stuff like that, and a lot of co-stars. I did manage to stay busy in the theater for all that time, but, you know, got into television, and I was doing like 2 or 3 shows a year, not necessarily all big roles, but sometimes a fair amount of guest stars, some recurring after a while. And then all of a sudden, 7 years ago, it went off a cliff. I have no idea why. I mean, I have the general notions why, because of what's happened to our industry. And I also know that some of my own choices had to do with that one of which was to stay with a small agency because I like the guy, and he likes me. And I had an agency when I started, when I first came back 26 years ago, which was during the time when a small agency could still be a powerful agency, could still have clout. Those days are gone. We don't have boutique agencies that also have a lot of clout. So I was with Maggie Henderson at Henderson Hogan. When Maggie died, the agencies sort of came slowly apart, and after a while they dropped me, and then I went to one of the junior agents there who was a manager, did with her for several years, and that was a lot of bottom feeding, not gratifying. Finally found the agent I'm now with, who is a cut above that, but doesn't have an enormous amount of clout. And rather than get really in a knot about that, I found myself scratching my own artistic itch, mainly in the theater, and being therefore kind of lazy about pursuing the other aspects of my career. And at the same time, I met people who were doing audiobooks. And they thought I was a natural for that, and I began to do it, and indeed it turned out that I am. And that's pretty much replaced my lust for most television. I ain't gonna say all television, and I'm not gonna say film, that's for sure. I do indie film if I can. And
you told me you do indie film for a specific reason.
Well, I look at my resume, and half a page is screen credits, half a page is stage credits. To me, the stage credit represents years of experience. The screen credit represents weeks of experience. And I think about the people who really are mainly screen actors, not necessarily stars, but screen actors who've done as much in front of a lens as I've done in front of a live audience. And I'm thinking, I'll never get their years of experience, no matter how much I'm in front of a camera. So let me get in front of a camera every time I can, because every time I do, I'm definitely learning something. And I like what I feel I'm learning. So, but it ceased to be a kind of lust now, because as it turns out, the book narration is extremely satisfying, not to mention lucrative. So I've kind of relaxed and just sort of taken things as they've come, and I'm very, very grateful. Very,
Thanks,
very
Mark.
grateful.
Thank you. Yvette, who has, again, a very different career. You trained, you told me, as a dramatic actress. You knew you were going to work as a dramatic actress. You had to take singing lessons.
I was going to be this star, this major actress.
Yeah.
And I had a job at a 99-seat theater. It was dealing with the Huntington Theater in New York City, and I thought it was a great role, absolutely great role. No money. And I was just starting out, and there was this company called Voices Incorporated, in which they told the story of the African American from slavery all the way up to jazz, and we would tell this story. Oh, and you had to be a teacher. You had to have a degree to be in this company. Well, not everybody had one, but anyway, it didn't matter. Just as long as you could sing and dance, be barefoot, and I'm serious, and wash your clothes in sinks. Okay, and that was my first job, and let me tell you, I had so much fun. I learned so much by being on the road in a station wagon with 6 other actors, another car full of musicians who could care less about the actors, and another car that carried whatever gear we had. And we would stay in hotels and travel throughout this country singing and dancing. And that's how I started. Melba Moore was one of the first members of this company. Wow. And it's still going on till this day, and it taught me so much.
And then you booked a bus and truck.
Oh, I did bus and trucks up the wazoo.
The first one was The Wiz.
Oh,
right?
The Wiz was just one of them. I just told you one of the buses, but we'll talk about The Wiz. We did The Wiz. It was the 7th company of The Wiz, directed by Jeffrey Holder, and choreographed by, he ended up choreographing my show. George Faison, thank you very much, because he ended up doing Dinah Was, and I'll connect that with Dinah Was. I played a munchkin, a mouse, a quadling, I sang background, I did anything and everything you wanted to do. I understudied everybody but Dorothy. Okay, Lilias White did Dorothy. Do you know Lilias? She got a Tony Award for The Life. And she's still working like crazy in New York City. And I did this on the road for a whole year. Twisted my ankle, okay? But I was still back there singing and still doing these little things like this. And Lilias helped me, before I twisted my ankle, to learn how to tap dance. Okay, I could never get this tap dancing down. To this day, I can't tap worth anything. I fake it. I shake my breasts, okay? You will not look at my feet. Truth. And so I had an audition for a show called Ain't Misbehaving, and Honey Saunders. Do any of you know Honey Saunders, an agent here? Everybody, yeah, you know Honey. Oh, God bless her. I never signed with Honey. In New York City, you don't have to sign for anything, okay? You just had an agent. Honey said, come on out here to California. I have an agency out here. They'll love you. I was like avoiding this, avoidance. But that's later on. I asked her, could you get me an audition for Ain't Misbehaving? At this time, I had not met Honey, okay? But she was my roommate's agent. She got me an audition. She met me backstage. I didn't even know it was backstage. It was in the alley. And she introduced herself. I went on stage, and I realized I was on stage, and there they were, all these people looking for Ain't Misbehaving. I was like, and I ended up doing that same tap step that Lilias White had taught me. I took off the soft cast before I went out, of course. And I mean, I learned so much in my youth and traveled throughout the world with Ain't Misbehaving. I spent 10 years of my life. I did Broadway, First National, Parisian, International, touring, and guess what? In June, my husband, who's a musician, he's sitting back there, he's a musical director, he's done lots of Ain't Misbehavings. We're doing one for North Coast Rep in June. And then it's going to another theater. So we'll be working on all summer. But this time, I'm not in it because I'm too old. I can't do that show. 8, you sing it like that, 32 songs? No way. I'm 16 years old. So anyway, that's what I'm doing next, directing.
And then you came out here and did some guest shots
Oh,
in
yeah.
TV, and it wasn't, you were employed, but
you know
it was
what?
not taken
Guest
off
shots, at the time when I came out here, after being 2 years in Boston in Nonsense, hallelujah, at the Charles Playhouse, Sister Hubert, thank you very much. I came out here and I did guest spots. Honey, let me tell you about Honey Saunders. Honey gave me clothes, okay? I had clothes, but Honey had clothes. Silk outfits, silk dresses, and Honey and I are about the same size, big ladies. Well, every year Honey would give away her clothes, and she says, well, Honey, you need you need to look good for Hollywood. She brought me over to her house and gave me bags of silk clothes and beautiful things. I looked like I was already there. And I would go into these auditions when I started off, and I started working as soon as I landed my feet here, doing guest spots, co-stars. I didn't care what. So Honey Saunders, I love her. Oh, loved her.
But you moved on from guest stars.
She got me ER. And she realized, and I realized, that she couldn't move me to the next level. And I got another agent, because Honey and I were never signed, okay? Oh, no, that's a lie. I had to sign here. I ended up signing here in California. But in New York, no. So I'm with Stone Manners, Salners, and that's one of those small agencies, but they're not that small. They get me into everything. Now, if there's everything to get into, we'll talk about that later, okay? But I've been very, very blessed, and I got ER, and I was there from the beginning to the end, along with Ellen Crawford and Michael Genovese. And we were blessed. Let me tell you, that show blessed me beyond. I have a pension. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's the truth. Okay. So I'll end that.
And you've been writing, you are directing, you originated a show about Dinah Washington.
Well, I think that an actor should do everything if you have it in you. If you have it in you, I think that we've all been given different arts, a lot of arts. If you can act, sing, you can also probably paint, draw, write something. God has given you extra talents. Pull them out of your bag and use them. And I did that. I went to AFI, American Film Institute. I did a directing workshop for women, the 14th Circuit. I did my first film. It got on Showtime on the Black Filmmakers show. And then I did another show. I did a couple of shows that I produced myself in which Ellen Crawford was in it and Michael Genovese. It was called Remember, and it was on HD, one of the first HD short films out there. And I got a free camera from Panasonic because they were free. They let me use it because they were trying to get HD out there. And AFI was they were pushing us to learn this new skill to get ahead. It worked. And this film, I won all kinds of awards. Did we not win a lot of awards? Now, did we make any money? No. I did the teeny bit. They got paid, and we did it through SAG. It was all SAG, everything. Did all by the rope. Had to. You don't play with Ellen, okay? So that's what I did.
Thank you, Yvette.
Welcome.
And Sarah Jane, you come from a different background altogether. I do. So you grew up in St. Louis, right?
Well, I actually.
Is it on?
I don't have my glasses on.
Let me see. Peter, take mine.
I actually grew up in southern Illinois, and the nearest big city was St. Louis. So I went to St. Louis for all my dance training. Yeah, but I did actually grow up in southern Illinois.
And then you decided that you had a conversation with your father.
Yes, well, my father was very big on higher education. I had 2 older sisters who had gone to college, and I was a good student, and I got a couple of scholarships to art schools. But I was just adamant, because I decided very early on that I wanted to be a professional dancer, and I So I was begging my parents, don't make me waste 4 years in college, getting a degree, learning how to teach other people, because I just want to get out there and do it. And it's going to be a short career anyway, so I just want to hit the ground running. And so I came to an agreement with them that I would come to Los Angeles. I either had to go to Los Angeles or New York, and I had a sister living in LA at the time. So they felt better about me coming to LA. And at that time, there were a lot of jobs for dancers. There was a lot of musical variety on television, a lot of movie musicals.
You did a USO tour, right?
Well, I did that. That was the first thing I did when I got out here. I went to an audition, and I had an opportunity to see the world. And so I was 18, and I said, fine. So I did. I went to Southeast Asia and Vietnam, but then I came back and pursued television and film, and I did some touring companies. But anyway, I made the agreement with my parents that I would come out here, and if I could support myself dancing, then I could stay. And if I had to take other jobs, then I would give it up and go back and go to school.
And you did it for quite a while, right?
I did. And a footnote to that is that
yes.
Finally, in my 50s, I felt like something I missed was getting a college education. So I went to school in my 50s, and I got my performing arts degree.
Uh-huh.
Finally. So, thank you. It was a lot of work going back to school at that age, but I really wanted to be there, and I really wanted it then, so I was very motivated, and I think the time was right. When I was 18, it wasn't in me, but it was by the time I went.
And that was after you were a stand-in, right? You were a stand-in for like a decade?
Well, a while.
Yeah.
I danced. I was very fortunate to be able to make a living as a dancer. And in my early 30s, I started to walk away from that. I was getting older. I had a child, and
you must have had an injury or two in the.
Well, you get a little tired,
yeah.
But it was time, and so I wanted to stay in the business, but on a part-time basis because I was raising my daughter. And somehow I made some contacts to become a stand-in, which worked out really, really well for me because it was maybe 3 days a week. We had hiatus periods, and I was able to utilize my skills. And also part of being a stand-in, which I didn't realize, I thought it was just more about hitting your marks and being where they needed you to be, but I found out very quickly. I was a stand-in on Cheers for 8 years, and I was on the first 2 seasons of Friends. And when the actors, the particular actor that you're standing in for is not on set for whatever reason, if they have a fitting or a press interview, then the stand-in is expected, you probably all know this already, to know their dialogue and to do their part. And so that was something new for me, but I loved the challenge, and that was I learned a lot, and it was fun.
And you made use of it. I mean, after you were in production accounting for...
Well, yeah, then at a certain point, for economic reasons and the end of a marriage, I needed a new direction. I needed more income.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate to find a new career in production accounting. It wasn't something I set out to do, but I had a friend who was a very successful production accountant, and she was looking for an assistant, and everyone who was interviewing was overqualified, and she was willing to train me, and so I went in that direction, and I ended up doing that for about 13 or 14 years.
And then I was saying you used the skill you'd picked up by actually beginning to act as a stand-in, because now you are an actress.
Yes, for the first time, because I didn't ever pursue acting because I was just so in love with dancing and singing, and so yes, so I did. I learned a lot by being a stand-in and doing the acting on set. And do you want me to continue about what happened after my production accounting?
Sure.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know if that was the next question.
No,
Sorry.
I'm listening
Sorry.
to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So about 6 years ago, I was able to retire from accounting, and I had never stopped dancing. I've taken dance class my whole life. I never stopped doing that, even though I stopped performing. And a friend of mine, and I had heard this over the years, oh, you're such a good commercial type. You're such a good commercial type. And I thought, well, isn't everyone? I mean, really. So I didn't really take it seriously. But a few years ago, someone in the business said, look, you're still dancing, and now you're retired, so you have the freedom, you have the flexibility to go on auditions, and you're a certain age group now where more mature people, they can still work. And so I determined that I would try to get an agent. And if it went well, and I didn't have to try too hard, then I was willing to give it a shot. But I mean, really, I just didn't know. I had been out of it for so long that I was a little reluctant.
And
but
you've
I was
been booking.
persuaded. I was persuaded.
And you have been booking.
So I was fortunate. I got an agent. I got an agent through my dancing. I signed with an agency who has a dance department. And because they actually, if you look at commercials and movies and TV, occasionally you'll see older people dancing, choreographed dancing. So I was signed as a dancer, and then the commercial department said they wanted to represent me. And the print department said they wanted to represent me. So I said, okay, I guess that's a sign. And so I've been having a lot of fun. I've had some success. I booked a commercial. I danced on a TV show. And I'm going out on quite a few calls.
That's great. Yeah. So I've got a question. Are you on social media?
I'm on Facebook.
My granddaughter doesn't call that social media.
Yeah. I'm on Facebook. Otherwise, I'd have to say no.
Yvette, you just got a degree.
In English, creative writing from Southern New Hampshire University.
There it is.
It would help. It would help. I remember these things. Yeah. Microphone. I like your microphone. I got a master's from Southern New Hampshire University in English. And just October 2015, I just got it. And at the ripe old age of 65, hey. Because I don't feel like I have to stop. I mean, who's going to tell me to stop? And I wanted to learn. And I've got a lot to give. And we all do, don't we? I mean, and that's where I see my next step is to give. And I have no intentions of stop working, but I've noticed some of the jobs have dried up a little bit, even though I did have a lovely national commercial last year, soup commercial with the little old lady with the white hair. And I do go around with a dark wig, so I look a lot younger. But this is me, white hair. And I just finished doing a movie with Shirley MacLaine called The Last Word, with my white hair and all. Thank you very much. I finished it last week, and it's going to be great. She's going to be great.
But you know what? I find that having gray hair has been an advantage.
Works, doesn't it?
It's been an advantage,
Yeah.
yes, because I go to interviews and there aren't that many of us that are willing to go there
Yeah, a lot of people throw on them wigs and things like that, but I'm also wearing my hair natural, and that sometimes shocks a lot of people in this business, and I talked to the casting director about that. But you know, because that's the way I wear my hair is more of it's not straight, it's not the weave, it's different. And so that puts me in a different spot as an actress. They see me differently. They won't put me in the middle class family. Well, sometimes, it depends. But they usually like the wigs and the weaves. You know, when you come in with dreadlocks, and these are dreadlocks, these are called sister locks that I have on my head. It's a different look, but it's a natural look. And it's the real look that's out happening in the street, and you'll see more and more of it. So my niece helped me to learn about these things.
Your niece is also a social media person.
Oh, well, she runs all my stuff.
Yes.
In fact, she just moved out, which she needed to because she was old and she needed to get on her own. And she didn't need her auntie telling her what to do. But she did know how to work that Facebook thing. But I'm one of, I have a page, YvetteFreeman.com, and I've had that since the very, very beginning. I've had it for years. And it's pretty nice. People keep in contact, and I'm very bad about responding, I must admit, because it does get overwhelming.
Yeah.
You know, you do something, people will write to you, and you're supposed to write back. My niece would do things like that. Now she's gone. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
I can't afford a secretary.
Emilio, you're very active on Twitter, right?
I'm all about it, man. On Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, run with it. It's free advertisement. You dig what I'm saying? So, I mean, I have a lot of followers, you know, and my agent says she wants me to get more followers. Now I'm on the producing side. Now I still act, but I'm also producing now, and it's really funny, man, because I got a lot of friends who are in the business who are 10 times more talented than I am, and I want them to work with me. But when I get the money, guys, when we sit down, they're like, you don't have enough followers, bro. This guy's got like 1 million followers, so now we're looking for people who have it's really weird. If you're just if you two are going off the same row, and you have 10,000 followers, and you have 1 million followers and you're just as good, we're going with you because you got 1 million followers. We already got 1 million people that want to buy your ticket. You dig what I'm saying? It's really sucks, but that's what it is, man. You know what I'm talking about? So if you got it, if you can do it, run with it. It's free publicity. You know, my publicist I had 10 years ago, I used to pay him $2,400 a month, whether I was working or not. And then I cut him loose after about 3 years. And then about a year ago, he called me. He said, Emilio, can I work for you again for half of the price? And I said, I'm cool, bro. I can do my own thing now. You know, it's really run with that social media, man.
Let's talk about that own thing. Ben, you are very active in encouraging actors to use social media to market themselves, right?
Well, not even necessarily to market yourself, but I would say, to me, the power that I found in social media, and what I would say is the same about the industry as it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 50 years ago, is that it's really about relationships. And if you're an entrepreneur, which congratulations, every single one of you is, you're the CEO of your own company, congratulations. If you didn't know that, now you know. And at the end of the day, it's really about relationships, whether it's, Marcy's a perfect example. I met Marcy because we were both on Facebook and Twitter and blogging and just developed a relationship the same way that I would develop a friendship with somebody who I met out and about. And so what I found is that social media has been an incredible tool for me to develop relationships, which at the end of the day is what I think moves us forward as actors in the business. So whether you want to be an actor, a performer, a producer in any way, what's great about this industry is it's a collaborative art form. So that means automatically you're going to be collaborating with other people. And now with social media, I have the opportunity to meet and access people who before I would have to go through an agent, I'd have to go through a manager, I'd have to go through some other thing, and now I can tweet them directly and I can just start forming a relationship. So to me, I think that's what's amazing about where we are, is that in a lot of ways, the business is different and the way it looks and the tools are different, but underneath it, we're still performers, we're still creatives, and we're still developing relationships that move us forward. And so now we have all of these tools that we can use to do that.
I said to you when we talked that, yeah.
We're going to take questions like about the last half hour, so hold on to that.
Thanks, Mike. I said Twitter like that, kind of, to you. And I don't know how to do that, really. I've done that a little, and you suggested something to me about stepping into Twitter. You suggested that I don't immediately, yeah, go ahead.
Sure. So I had the same reaction back 7, 8, 10 years ago when I first got on Twitter. Actually, I think it was 10 years ago. Anyway, my friends were like, you have to be on Twitter, you have to be on Twitter. And I was like, I don't care what you had for lunch, whatever. Like, who cares, right? Anybody else feel that way? Anyone ever thought that? Got it. So I understand, but I'm a convert, and I'm here to tell you, and I imagine Marcy will share a similar story, that what's possible is again, it comes down to relationships. So I begrudgingly got on Twitter. I was like, all right, let's see what people had for lunch. But what I found was a community, and I found other actors, I found performers, I found casting directors, agents. In a tactical way, I've had numerous agents, managers, I've been cast in projects, all because of relationships I started on social media.
But Ben, the thing
Yes.
you told me is to hang out to begin with.
Sure. So I think, how many of you guys have heard or thought of social media as like a megaphone, right? A way to get your voice out there and market yourself?
Yes.
Anybody's kind of heard about it, thought about it that way? So I think social media at its best works when you turn the megaphone around and listen. So if you turn the megaphone around and you start listening, you can start to learn about other people. You can learn what the agents and managers care about. You can learn, every writer of every television show, I would wager that 80 to 90% of the writers of television shows are on Twitter, and they have less than 1,000 followers. And you can follow them and listen and start interacting like a real person about real person things, and now all of a sudden, you have a relationship with the writer of a television show who is the person who writes us jobs. So my advice is you don't have to start with everybody starts with 0 followers. The quickest way to get to 1 million is to do like Charlie Sheen did, and you can get lots of followers very quickly. So I'm not recommending that. But everybody starts at 0 and just start listening, start following people. As soon as I started doing that and I was following agents, casting directors, producers, Marcy, I started to learn and I was gathering information, and I all of a sudden had access to this incredible wealth of knowledge and information. Even if you never tweet anything, I think you can absolutely get the value by having a Twitter account and following people like Marcy, and Marcy will talk about other ways to do this and other people who you can learn incredible information from without even tweeting.
Do you have a specific in terms of something that happened because of what you're talking about?
I have a ton of, my first commercial agent, I got through because of a relationship I started on Twitter. I had a manager.
Hello. Does this work? Yeah. Explain what a relationship is, because here's the thing that people don't understand about Twitter, and I think it's something that you said actually that I'm not sure exactly how you're using it, but Twitter is not your own personal PR unit. It's not there for you to blast out, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, watch me on this. It's not about tweeting to someone you've never met, for instance, hey, look at my demo reel, when you don't even have a relationship with them yet. That's rude. You have to think about, there's a certain etiquette, as there is with anything. You should be treating social media as you would a dinner party or any social interaction. You wouldn't walk into somebody's house and go, here, look at my reel. That would be really rude. Yet I get that all day long. And then when I look at that person's Twitter feed who tweeted that to me, they've tweeted it to 30 other casting directors. I block them and I report them for spam, because that's spam. In the world of Twitter, that is spam, because it's not there for you to be selling your wares. That's how I got on Twitter, was to sell this DVD that I produced. I put this DVD together called My Audition Boot Camp, and I went on Twitter kicking and screaming, didn't want to do it, to sell my DVD. And I got my ass kicked around the block, because I was just out there going, buy this, buy this, buy this. People don't want to hear that. The rule on Twitter, which is very smart, is the 80-20 rule, which means you tweet 80% great content, not about yourself, but in the niche that you're in. Let's say you want to be a gardener and you start following horticulturists and gardeners. But if you want to be an actor, you'll follow people in the business. So you tweet great content, not about yourself.
What's great content? Give me an example.
Interesting articles about, like today, I also run the Casting Society of America Twitter account, And so I primarily tweet for them about articles that are about casting directors or about the business. For me, I got on Twitter, I turned it around, stopped trying to sell my thing, and started to be an actor's advocate. And put up articles that would be interesting for our actors, and also to keep them educated about scams, to keep them educated about a lot of bullshit that's going on in the business.
Bullshit in the business?
Yeah.
Nice.
And I would do, in 30 minutes I'm going to do Ask Me Anything. And anybody can ask me anything about the business. You know, I'm there to help. So you can treat it in a lot of ways. But I don't want anyone here to suddenly be overwhelmed with the thought that, oh my God, I have to get on social media. This is, there's so much new. If you're just coming back into the business, or if you're trying to refresh your game right now, there's so much out there that you need to do in addition to this, right? And because we could do an entire night on this. In fact, Ben and I have been talking about teaching some social media classes, which we're putting together in the next couple weeks. So hit us up for that, because we'll probably be doing that next month, I think. Because it's a lot to teach. It's a very big subject. But coming back into the business, I coach actors. In addition to casting, I coach actors and teach them. And I've taught some older actors that I literally have to tell them that you need to have a smartphone, because you're going to get your auditions the night before at 6 o'clock for the next morning. You don't know this, but as a casting director, I want you to have the most time that you possibly can to prepare. And I have my assistant send out the audition first thing in the morning. I try to give you even 2 days if we can, or 2 or 3 days. But we call the appointments out first thing in the morning. Your agent sits on them all day and then waits till the end of the day, and that's when they start giving out the appointments. So they've had them for 12 hours that
I'm
you've,
sorry,
that
I
you've
didn't
lost.
know that.
Oh, yes.
I've been screaming and shouting. I get
Notice
one-day
how you
auditions.
but do you notice how you get your auditions at the end of the day?
Yes.
Yeah, no. I've had one day. You know, they call you up around about as soon as they open up, and they say you'd be there at 4 o'clock.
Right. So a lot of it has to do
That's
with
insane.
when we get the pages and the writers give us the material and when the start date is. But generally, the agencies will wait till the end of the day. So my point is, so when you get your, you need to be able to move
You need
lightning
all the
fast.
lead
So you
time
need,
can get.
well, you need a smartphone so that you can get your auditions. I mean, I've been working with some people that don't have that. You need to have a website now. It's really important that you do that. How many people have a website here?
Do not.
Very good. If you don't, I want you to tomorrow secure your domain name. Your domain name means your name. So you're like my website is marcyleroff.com. Make sure you get it before somebody else gets it, because there's some creepy people out there that try to buy up your names.
I paid $3,500 for my name, so I know what you're saying.
Right?
So yeah, just
And so
try
Ben,
to lock down your name.
tell them how to do that.
Yeah, so it's the good news is it can be very easy. I personally like Google domains. If you just go to google.com/domains, I found it's the least expensive. You can have domain privacy for free. And it's very step-by-step. Just go to google.com/domains, type in your name, and hopefully, yourname.com, for example, hopefully it's available, and you just walk through the steps, and it's like $12 a year,
But
and
just
then
do
you
that
have it reserved.
as a placeholder, even if you don't have it within you to get a website right this moment. Just do that so that you've grabbed that and you've secured that. If you're not good at this kind of stuff, make sure that you have someone in your world that is. Like you were saying, your niece used to do this. So if you're overwhelmed by it, and I know a lot of you are also overwhelmed by it, you don't understand it. Some of you are probably really good at it, but for the ones that aren't, make sure you have someone in your world that can teach you this and take care of it, so that when you get an appointment the night before that says, we need you to self-tape. Now, this didn't exist when I started. You know, when I started casting, we didn't have video cameras. I'm that old, right? And so you need to understand how to be able to self-tape yourself and put it up on a link and send it to someone. How many people know how to do that? For those that don't, you're going to be run over by the train of technology if you don't get onto that train. So if you don't know how to do that, you need to find yourself, pardon me? You can do it with a cell phone. Yes,
Any device.
Microphone.
yes.
Yeah,
But at the very
Don't do the self-tape on your cell phone. Find somebody that, that knows how to do it right, and get the right lighting, because you get yourself a disservice by doing it that way. Do it professionally.
But you can learn how to do it yourself on the cheap. And, all the people that I know do it in their home. We're not looking for, your directing skills. We're looking for something that looks like, that has great lighting and could be natural lighting, great sound. It has to be on a tripod. I've seen some amazing things on a cell phone, but it must be on a tripod. Make sure someone else shoots it, and you have a great reader. I have a blog on my website that explains how to self-tape yourself. There's just so many things that exist now that didn't exist when you started, and you need to get up to speed on those things.
I'll add, I've booked multiple TV shows by self-tapes I've shot on my cell phone. All the equipment.
He's not standing there going like
No,
this.
it's not a selfie. I'm not like, hey, I'm
Yeah,
acting. I have it on a tripod, right? I have the lights and the setup, and my roommate helps me, and just like a normal audition. But I think part of the point to take away from this, for me, is that we have so much control now of our careers. To me, this is exciting. We live in a time where I can put myself on tape, and it can look professional, and I can get it to a casting director without ever going through an agent or a manager. And I'm not saying we don't need those. I'm not saying that's not part of it. But what I'm saying is, as actors, as creatives, we have so much more control than we've ever had. If I don't like my self-tape, I do it again. Yeah. I'm not in a casting room that's kicking me out. I go, hey, roomie, let's do it again. I want to try something. And I get to create, and I get to play. And as actors and creatives, I think this is part of our job, is to use this as an opportunity to be creative. Let's be creative, and let's be smart, and use our ingenuity that we have as creative people to form relationships and do these things in an interesting and empowering way.
I've noticed now, when I started out here in LA, I'd go into a room, I'd meet a director and producers, and that's changed.
Yes,
a lot.
that has changed a lot, and that's a good topic to bring up. You will many times be going into a room to audition, and it's just with us, the casting people, because the producer is scouting location, the director is also scouting. Many times they're not in the room, and so you need to really depend on and listen to the casting director who knows what we're looking for. We work with the filmmakers every day, and we've been working with actors for years, most of us, and so we're very good at directing you and helping you get the best performance you can possibly get. But in the old days, you would be working with a director when you come into a room. That still exists in many, many, many situations. Most of the films that I do, the director is absolutely in the room. But in a TV series, they're rarely there, except when they're casting the pilot. So everything that they're seeing is on a little screen on their computer. So your audition, so that hit that we used to get off of you when we're in the room, yes, they're not getting that. They're just seeing this, what's on the screen. So one of the things I tell my clients and anybody I'm working with is that you need to hit it from the moment that scene starts. You don't have time to work into, sometimes you're doing a scene and you don't really warm up until 3/4 into it, and then you hit your stride. But they've already clicked away, because one of the things that the internet has brought is no one has any attention span anymore. It has literally rewired our brains to have short attention span. And so if you start a scene and you're not connecting with the character instantly, they've clicked away. They go, nope. It's sickening sometimes to sit with the studio executives and watch them watch the auditions. You got 5 seconds.
Amelia, what Marcy was saying about the self-promotion thing, and you were saying that you do a lot of your own PR.
I do that. See, I did a show for 7 years. It's called Sons of Anarchy, and it was very popular. So once, twice a month, I go to different states, different countries, and I do autograph signings. So myself and most of the cast members, we all promote ourselves, you know what I mean? So I got like 800,000 followers, and they got 1 million followers, and they got followers, and they follow. So when I'm going to Virginia tomorrow, and so when I'm there, I got a lot of people waiting, because I'm getting paid to do this, you dig what I'm saying? So when I say self-promotion, is that's what I'm talking about.
That's not what I was talking about. That's great what you're doing.
Yeah,
I wasn't talking
do
about
that.
that.
I mean, that's how I mean.
I just wanted it to be clarified.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and that's come. I mean, I know what you're saying. No, I don't just put pictures of myself in videos. I don't. I think I have the same demo tape I had 10 years ago. You know, but I just that's what I use it for. It's like they're paying me a lot of money to go over there, so my service to them is that, you know what, I'm gonna bring my people as well. You know what I mean? So that's how it's a good living. You know, so when I'm not working, that's how we're doing. You know, doing our thing. You know.
Yeah, no, I wasn't referring to
On the
that.
cons and stuff like that. You know.
Great.
Marcy, you said that you had, what, 5 seconds of a shot?
It's
So to learn to do that,
when you watch a really good audition or you watch a really good performance
yeah.
as the viewer, when someone's really great, they capture you instantly. Instantly.
Is it their personality, or is it how they
No.
look on camera, or what? What
It's
is it that
they're-
Are you teaching this class?
I am actually.
Okay,
I am actually. No, and I'll use this as an example. Years ago, I cast E.T., the extraterrestrial, and for the lead kid, we did an improvisation, and we had my then boss, Mike Fenton, play a government official coming. He heard that he had this extraterrestrial in his house, and he was coming to take him away. And Henry, your job is to do everything you can to talk him out of it. And when you watch that audition, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about it, because the second you see him on screen, you're completely taken away, because he's so connected. He's so in this character's skin, and he's so connected to the man that he's talking to.
That video's on YouTube, yeah?
Yeah, just look up E.T. Henry Thomas audition.
But finally, isn't that what you want to be as an actor? I mean, when
Well,
you come
I
on
always-
stage, don't you want to be there?
This is what I
when you
talk
come
about
on?
all the time, is that as an adult actor, you want to get back to who you were as a kid. Because when you were a kid, you hadn't formed any ego yet, and you will just do anything, and you don't care what you look like. You don't care whether you look stupid. You'll take all sorts of chances. When you're an adult and you start getting into puberty and get older, you get concerned that you look like an idiot, and so you start shutting down. Your imagination shuts down, and you don't have that guileless personality that you did as a kid. So
That is so dead on. You know, in '95 I did a movie called Con Air, and John Malkovich is one of my favorite actors, and I got to work with him for 4 months. You know, so I had just seen Mice and Men, so I was talking about Mice and Men and shit. You know, and so he said, "Hey man, come to my trailer." You know, so and he used to like that show Cops. Cops was really popular, so we're in this trailer and we're watching Cops. You know, and what I noticed about him is that he's still a kid. He would sit on the floor, like I was all comfortable on his couch, and he would sit on the floor, and he would just like, he was a kid, man, you know. And I just by watching him, I learned to be a kid. You dig what I'm saying? Because they don't care, you know. And he's still a kid, man. That's gonna be such a great actor, you know. That's great what you brought up there.
You were talking about attention span, and I'd like to bring up demo reels and how they've changed. When I started out, I had demo reels like 4-minute scenes on my demo
10
reel.
minutes long, right?
And then arc in the scene, you know. I wanted to see how the scene began and the middle and that doesn't happen anymore. Talk about a demo reel now.
Now they're much shorter. They used to be, you would put all your great scenes on there, and they could be, if you were a prolific actor, they could be 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
Now, again, people just want it spoon-fed to them in quick little bites. And your demo reel could be 60 to 90 seconds long. Now, how the hell do you cut that? It's ridiculous. But what you can do, which is a great alternative, is to put clips of yourself up on your site or on Actors Access, which you have to be. There's one site that you actually have to be on. But you can put up all your comedy scenes, just scenes and clips. So that's a great way to do it, so that it's not this teeny tiny little reel.
Yeah.
But if you are doing a reel, make sure that you front load it with your best scenes. So at the very beginning, you're grabbing us. It changes all the time, the style of demo reels. It used to be that you would do this montage at the beginning. People don't want to see that anymore. They want to get to the scene. So you go straight to your best scene and make sure it features you. Make sure it's your scene, that it's not the other guy's scene that's in the scene with you. So many times I'll be looking at a demo reel, and I don't even know who I'm supposed to be looking at, because there's 5 guys in the scene, and who is the guy that's starring in this?
I would add go watch 100 actor demo reels, and you will understand a sliver of the number of reels that casting and everyone else sees all the time. I did that. I watched over 100 actor demo reels, and after I did that, I was like, I get it, come on, I just want to see you act. And after 20 seconds, I get it. I'm like, oh my God, this actor's amazing. So my homework for you, if you're hesitant to chop your demo reel below 2 minutes, go watch 100 actor demo reels and tell me that you actually want it to be 10 minutes and that you'll watch. Type it into YouTube or go on Twitter, look up actors, look up other people, go on IMDb and just go start looking at actor websites. Every actor who has a website probably has their demo reel there. And just start watching it and you'll start to see the trends for you as a viewer, what's captivating, what's not. And like Marcy says, making sure that it focuses on you. So when the demo reel starts, have the first frame be your face and you talking, so I know it's your reel.
And don't have it be you coming up saying, here's your coffee, sir. You know, if you're in a scene with Tom Cruise, it doesn't really impress me. It makes you look like an extra because you don't really have a scene. I have an actress that came to me who's going to be taking my class in a few weeks, and she's in her 40s now, and she was an actress in her teens and her 20s, and she doesn't have a demo reel to speak of because nothing that she has is appropriate. She had this guy cut her demo reel together, and it's her in her 20s, and it doesn't make any sense
What does she do?
What does she do? Exactly. So I suggested this. I know this guy that has this company called speedreels.com, and he helps you create a scene. Now, I don't like those, quite honestly, so I'm not suggesting it. I like to see professionally, and this is professionally shot, but I like to see professionally made footage of you in an actual production. I like to see that you've been hired by other people. So these recreation of scenes I'm not crazy about. But what he's done, though, he's starting this new thing where he has you talk to the camera and introduce yourself and tell people a little bit about yourself. So I'm just suggesting to her that she goes and does this intro and say, hey, I used to be somebody. And I took 15 years off to be a mom and to be a yoga teacher and a singer, and I'm coming back in the business, and this is what I used to do. And it's a placeholder for right now.
Right.
I would offer a couple other options. So that's great. So I'm an actor, right? But I also coach actors, and I have a couple clients who, same situation, didn't have a demo reel for whatever reason, and had essentially a personality video. One actor I coached created one that was why you should hire me even though I don't have a demo reel. And it was hilarious. Got to see her personality. She shot it on her phone. Low production quality, but it was hilarious. And by the end of a minute and a half, you really understood who this actor was and who was going to walk into the room with you. She's booked 5 co-stars in the last 6 months. Also, you're all SAG-AFTRA members. We have an amazing thing called the New Media Agreement, which you can go through the paperwork with the production center online, and now we can produce our own content, and we can put together a web series, a short film, whatever that is, and produce our own content starring us. And now all of a sudden I have all this amazing footage, and by the way, learned an incredible amount about all the rest of it by doing my own work, right? So that's an option. And also, it's LA. Everybody's making something. Go to a Starbucks and start talking to somebody. I guarantee you they're making a project. But so whether it's through your relationships or whatever that is, but also the online casting sites, whether it's Actors Access, Cast, Hollywood Casting and Film, these other sites, and just be submitting for projects. I think for this demographic specifically, by the way, there's been some grumblings about my qualifications on being a late bloomer panel, but my last name is Whitehair, so it's okay. I'm actually 67. I'm selling face cream afterwards. So
yeah.
You can now, of course, be submitting on these different sites and getting yourself out there to be doing projects, whether it's producing yourself, whatever the case may be, all of which can provide opportunities, of course, to get demo reel footage content.
And there's real professional-looking stuff done by on AFI Films.
Yeah, AFI. If you guys aren't on iActor, I had an audition at AFI 2 hours ago. So make sure your profile on iActor is filled out on the SAG-AFTRA website so that the students at AFI can call you in. And I know what I was going to say. For this demographic specifically, I hear people say sometimes, well, it's tough. You know, everybody else who's my age has 1 million credits, et cetera, et cetera. Got it. Guess what? every student film, web series, independent film that wants that kind of actor, that actor's maybe not going to take that audition. If they have 4 series regular credits on their resume, they're probably not going to go in for that co-star or that student film. And now all of a sudden you absolutely have a leg up because they're not taking those jobs, and now you can get incredible footage, do amazing work, get to act, etc.
Ben, what about the alternative things like Mark went into, the audio book thing, and Sarah Jane, the dancing and the commercial thing? Can you spin any of that toward those alternative things rather than just, I want to be a TV actor, I want to be a film actor?
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of the gift of this industry, right? Is that there are so many different ways that you can use your skills as a creative and a performer. So whether that's audiobooks, hosting, producing, whatever, dancing, whatever it is that you as a creator are drawn to, go do that. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, that you have a skill at, awesome. I promise you there are thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of people in LA who also want to be doing that, who are creating those kinds of projects. So whatever it is that you specifically are passionate about, go do that. I promise there's a place for it. And all of the same things that we're talking about apply. So creating those relationships, putting yourself out there, having the commitment that everybody has shared in their own stories over the years to go out and keep remaining passionate and doing those things. So whatever the actual thing is, you can absolutely do it.
Mark?
Also,
go ahead.
Yeah, just picking up on what Marcy and Ben are both talking about, that if you're letting yourself, like I haven't stopped acting because I'm doing a lot of audiobooks. I'm very happy that I am doing a lot of audiobooks because it allows me to pay attention to the acting everywhere else too. But the freshness that Marcy's talking about, where you lock onto something right away, and where you have that kind of childish shamelessness about what you're doing, works much better if you haven't spent hours, days, weeks, God help you, years, focused on just one aspect of what your talent can do, and gnashing your teeth and feeling awful because you're not a star yet or whatever. And then when you do have a chance, you have an audition or something, you come in and you're in a state that won't allow you to do your best work. Whereas if you're fulfilling yourself however you can, and then you're suddenly turning your attention back to something else, you come to it with a kind of freshness and a kind of spontaneity that is going to lend itself to you doing your best work.
And one of the things that enables you to continue that is continuing to work in student films, in 99-seat theater. You may not get, you may work SAG deferred in a student film, but you're not going to get money, but you're going to get your, you can be alive as an artist. And that's what you got to keep. You got to keep that going in some way.
In other words, keep your chops up.
Yes, keep your chops up. Exactly.
Yes, in any kind of way that you can, keep your chops up. Don't let this work, this thing that we're in, push you down and stop whatever made you want to be an actor. Now's the time to burn it. Make it really burn. Keep it up.
And if you're not ready for an audition, I just won't go in. And I learned that a long time ago. I worked for this one cast. I don't say names, but he cast me on a lot of top shows, man. And this was for a series regular, so he went straight to producers. At the time, that's when I was going through my divorce, so my head was all over the place. And I wasn't ready. And I had like 4 days. For a series, they give you a lot of time to work it out. And I was thinking about other things. And I went in there and I gave him the worst audition of my life. And he looked at me and he had hired me already 6 times. And he looked at me like, dude, I just brought you in front of everybody. And I never caught, and this has been 10 years now. He's never called me back again. So if you're not ready, do not go in. Don't waste nobody's time,
In panel after panel that we've had, one of the things that comes up is, to paraphrase, God helps those who help themselves. And I think what you're seeing up here and what you're hearing up here, that's what it's about. You can't sit back. and wait for it to happen. You got to go out there and get it. If you want it, you got to go get it.
Very good, brother. You know, everybody, I get a lot of, I have like 6 pages, and I have 3 people that run 3 of my pages, and I run 3 of my own. And sometimes I'll get into the mail, and the main thing is everybody always asks, how did you get to where you're at? Well, there's a lot of different ways, you know, but I did it the old school way, man. I did 20 stage productions before I did my first TV show, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I love the stage. That's because you get instant response. I just couldn't make a living doing stage, you dig what I'm saying? But I still, I mean, I was able to go back 8 years ago and get back on the stage because I was able to afford to do it, and it was like back home again. But this is what I gotta do to keep it going. But there's no different way of doing it. I just did it the old school way, the way they told me to do it, and it worked out, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for, I remember 12 years ago, we were working on a house, me and my uncle, and he said, you know, I couldn't stop working. I was blessed. You know, I thank God every day for it. And he said, hey, mijo, you know, save your money because there's going to be the time when they don't want you no more. You know? And I thought about that, what he said. And that's why I was like, I'm 55 now, so I guess I was 43 then. And I didn't like what he said, you know? And then I said, wait a minute, I'm not a construction guy. I'm not an athlete, you know. I do my acting. As long as I keep on doing this over here, I'm going to be okay. And you know what? Right now, man, you know, I mean, I thank God. It's like I've been happy with I've had a great career, and I can't even lie about that. But right now, I'm just getting started, man. You dig what I'm saying? I'm 55 years old, and you know what? I'm here till I'm 80. God wouldn't give me that much time, you know, but I'm here, man. I'm not going nowhere. He kind of motivated me a little bit. I got pissed off, you know?
My daughter.
So I think we are ready for questions from, yeah, Ellen, you were going to say something. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead,
I just wanted
Mark.
to throw
I'm
one
sorry,
thing
Mark.
in that's kind of a favorite thing. When I came back to work, which was now 26 years ago, I was having a conversation with one of my beautiful daughters. I have 4. And I started saying that, you know, I've only got so much time. I got this, and this to do. And I said, I've only got so much time, and she interrupted me, and she said, Dad, don't set your clock, you know, because the alarm will ring. And so I followed that advice because it fits perfectly, because what we do, we're not on anybody's schedule but our own, and we're only doing it for love. I don't care what we're getting paid. I don't care how famous we are or not. We're only doing it for love. If there's nobody in the room that's going to give you any different answer to why they're doing this, practicing this art. So don't set your clock. Keep going.
It's nice to expect the unexpected, because if someone had told me when I was 18 or 19 that all these many years later that I'd be able to do what I'm doing, and part of doing what I thought that part of my life was over, and here I am, and it's so stimulating and fun. And even if I go to an audition and I get called back and I get excited and hopeful, but if it doesn't happen, it's okay, because it was so stimulating just to do it. And so, yeah, do it,
let it go.
Because you love it.
Let it go, man. You know, I see people walk out of my audition, they're still talking to themselves, you know what I mean? Let it go. It's done. I'm serious, you know? Some of the stuff that I've I know I sucked at, I get those gigs. And the ones that I hit, you know, it never happened. So just let it go, man, you know?
That can be an advantage to getting older. You get some degree of objectivity about just how important that audition was in the scheme of things. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.